Daniel Penner-Hashimoto.
Yes,
You are born in San Francisco in California,
that's correct.
and you are at the moment a student at Columbia University studying Japanese literature,
Yes,
doing a PhD,
exactly.
and also teaching there. But the other thing about you that is absolutely fascinating is that you speak 9 languages.
Also true.
And what are those 9 languages, Daniel?
Every time I get asked, I suddenly forget
I know.
all nine of them, including English. So let's see. I suppose I can go chronologically. I was born as other humans, not speaking any languages. Picked up English as an infant, presumably, and also grew up around Spanish when I was a child. Studied Hebrew in school. In college, sort of got interested in German and then later Japanese. It's 5. And by that point, it was sort of snowballing out of control as a hobby of picking up new languages. And I started learning Portuguese, French, Mandarin, Chinese. And then a couple years later, started learning Russian. And those would be the 9. And there are a couple more that I've started slightly to dabble in, but I would never claim that I could speak.
And what are they, just out of curiosity?
Bits and pieces of Dutch, Italian, and Korean.
So you said it was a hobby. I would call it a gift. When kids, little kids, up to the age of 5 or something, that they can pick up languages easily. I'm going to postulate that you've never moved past that. In other words, that you have the same fluid ability that a kid has.
There may be a part of me that is similar to a small child, and that includes the linguistic capacity. I mean, I know people in their 20s who do this, and I know people in their 70s who do this. But I would say what strikes me as special about being a small child when you're learning a language is intense exposure that a small child has to the language that they're immersed in. So when I started learning French, for example, I needed to kind of encounter French people, and I would force that through sort of online, finding French people to talk to.
So you found the internet, the world of the internet, to be really helpful.
It's I mean, we live in a special time for doing this kind of thing where you can meet people.
Are you different in each language?
Yes. Yeah. As a simple answer, yes.
Yes, because I know you in French.
You do. We met in French.
This is the first time that we totally
What do you think?
Yes, I think you are different.
Yeah,
actually.
I think I'm different too.
I think you're actually freer in French.
This is very possible. Yeah. I have had this conversation with my partner who is bilingual English-Japanese speaker, and how in a lot of ways I feel freer in a kind of emotional, expressive plane. But what I think I concluded was that when you are raised in a kind of cultural environment that's associated with a language, the words used to express things become kind of depersonalized through their relation to other phenomena. Their use in culture, so in movies, on TV, in books, and other things, cheapening of words. But there's also that the words gain specific associations that are like your relationship to the words is going to be filtered through your feelings about how they get used by other people, and they don't belong to you completely. And the less exposure you have to a language's culture, ironically, I guess, the more personal it is. It makes sense.
Yes, it does, because language is a metaphor. Culture and language are so inextricably intertwined, isn't it?
I mean, you as an Australian who moved to who's now a New Yorker, those are 2 different languages in their own way.
Totally correct, even though it's English. The culture in Australia and the culture in New York is not the same whatsoever, and it was a paradigm shift. The nuances can be different. Not all the words, some are the same, but many are not. And also the way to be. It's a way of being in the language.
Yeah, speaking is only one part.
Culture is a way of being. The thing to do is embrace it and run with it.
It's always exciting.
How has being in New York influenced you?
Just the ability to find both people who share my interests. You know, we met at this language meetup where I like to go to just be my French self for a little bit, or be my German self for a little bit, or whatever it is every week. But also just people who live a totally different life than I do. Have had trouble finding both of those things in tandem in other places that I've lived. And it feels like being home, and it felt like being home very quickly.
Is there a special place that you have in New York that you might want to offer?
There is a Haagen-Dazs on 72nd Street, right off the 123. Something about that Haagen-Dazs, I think it's been years since I've actually gone inside the Haagen-Dazs, But I believe that Haagen-Dazs has been there since I was a small child.
So that is the icon, the symbol for you.
It's the symbol of New York for
The
me.
everlasting, it's like your Statue
Yeah.
of Liberty. Other people would want to learn languages. What would you say to them?
It's the kind of thing where once you've done it one time, you know you can do it a second time. There would be no kind of mental obstacle for you to say there's no way that I can do that.
So what you're saying is confidence.
It's confidence, but I think it's and this might be just related to confidence in general, but to me it's like an ability to imagine yourself as a user of that language.
You can open doors with languages that might otherwise be shut.
Yes. That doors open on the emotional level.
Yes,
They don't
well-
open through logic or through meaning. People don't decide to open doors. The doors fly open. Languages enable that. And it's really like the kind of hope of those moments coming that keeps me engaged in learning new languages. It's the thought that maybe sometime will come when I'll be in a situation that I can connect with someone in a really deep way because I've studied this language.